History is not just about kings, wars, or fallen empires. History is about comebacks. It is about moments when everything was lost, when the world believed the story was over, when darkness felt permanent. And yet, someone stood up, people rose again, and history changed forever. This is not a story of easy victory. This is a story about refusing to disappear. Long ago, in an age shaped by iron and fire, power ruled the world. Empires were built on blood-soaked ground. Castles stood tall believing they would last forever. And kings spoke as if their words were eternal law. But power has always carried a fatal weakness. It believes it cannot die. Cities burned, knowledge was destroyed, and entire generations vanished without a name. For the defeated, history showed no mercy. It offered only silence. And silence is a dangerous place. The survivors were not heroes. They were farmers with empty hands, soldiers without banners, and children born among ruins. They had no armies, no crowns, no voice, only memory. Memory of who they once were, memory of what was stolen, memory of a world that once belonged to them. The victors laughed and said time would erase them, that they would forget. But history has proven one truth again and again. The oppressed never forget. Revolutions do not begin with battles. They begin with whispers, a quiet refusal, a single question asked in the dark. Why do they rule us? Around small fires, stories were told again. Old names were remembered, lost symbols traced in the dirt. Not to fight yet, but to remember, because memory is dangerous. Memory turns fear into anger, anger turns weakness into strength, and strength changes everything. The first rebellion was not glorious. It failed. Many died, others were punished publicly, and the message was clear: never try again. But history does not move forward in straight lines. It moves in scars. Every fallen rebel became both a warning and an inspiration. The people learned. They adapted. They waited. Time, once their enemy, slowly became their weapon. Years passed. Empires grew comfortable, rulers grew arrogant, and guards slept easier believing the threat was gone. They were wrong. In the shadows, a new generation was rising. One that did not fear defeat because it was born into it. They studied the enemy, learned from past mistakes, and built unity where division once ruled. Slowly, quietly, the balance shifted. When the uprising returned, it was unstoppable. Not because the rebels were stronger, but because they were prepared. Battles were short, victories sudden, and castles that once symbolized eternity fell in days. The world watched in disbelief. How could the defeated return? How could the forgotten rewrite history? Because history has never belonged to the powerful. It belongs to those who survive. Victory came at a terrible cost. Heroes were buried without songs, cities were rebuilt on graves, and freedom was paid for in blood. But for the first time, the future belonged to those who earned it. No divine rulers, no eternal crowns, only a hard-earned truth. Nothing lasts forever, not even empires. Centuries later, these stories are still told. Not because of the battles, but because of the message they carry. That history can be stolen but never destroyed. That collapse is not the end. That defeat is not destiny. And that the greatest power history has ever known is the will to rise again. If you ever believe your story is over, remember this: history has fallen more times than anyone can count, and it always came back. So will you?